This podcast features adult content not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. You have been warned.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Back to the Story, where friends come together to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be your DM, Klouse. Let's get started.
Okay, so jumping back in, I'm going to do a short recap on the previous session, Ogre's Breath Pass, occurring in the Knock Mountain Range, Severwind. Previously, finding your way to Ogre's Breath Pass, you fall through wind, ogre, and a bullet which burst through the ground. Pushing forward past this fight, the group found a cave, apparently the ogre's lair, but inside you found evidence that didn't necessarily indicate the low intelligence ogres were using. Some sort of fire elemental trinket, an orange-red volatile vial, and a ghost apple. Meli identified the apple and what it could do, advising Ball to consume it. After a severe cooling feeling, Ball was able to see a short distance into the ethereal plane of the dead and undead. With this sight and through Ball, the group communicated with a dead human hunter before burying the desecrated body. After this, moving forward, the group rounded a curve to see spikes of old impaled bodies with only a few scattered bones remaining. Just past the spikes, you found the overlook overwatching the war camp of Stronghold Ustax. Next to the spikes, you found an entrance to a cave, warded by wind chimes of bone, and after some discussion, the group used an innovative plan to remove and circumvent the chimes using the bag of colding. Unfortunately, Vesper accidentally triggered the hollow rattle of the chimes moving through. However, the group is just pushed through after Wink is scouted ahead to find nothing of note besides a dead dwarf, and you are just kind of found a spot that seems like there's only two entranceways in this kind of tunnel area, the exit and then forward into the cave, and you're just sort of settling down, preparing yourself for a long rest and what might entail, and this is where we're going to pick up.
If I remember correctly, we were just about to have a long rest, right?
Correct, yeah. You all just kind of settled in the spot and you all begun talking and setting up shop and all that, correct?
Well, everyone, this place kind of reminds me of home, so we should take a few precautions. Meli, if you don't mind, I think you have that alarm, right? If we can make a couple of those, maybe further down into the tunnel, that would be smart.
Sure, yeah, I can do that. And she moves forth and begins casting alarm up ahead as she takes a few minutes to cast it ritually.
Yeah. So I'd advise her, if she's not here to think for herself, to put one, I guess, I'm trying to remember. So we've got right where we are, there's only two entrances down, out, and then further in, and then it splits?
Yeah, so the closer you are to the entrance where you entered, the more singular the routes are. And you've kind of gone as far as you can go in before it starts severely branching. So if you moved any further into the cave, you'd probably have to deal with maybe 3 sort of points of entry into wherever you're trying to set up a rest. So this is kind of, unless you guys wanted to push further. But here's a spot where there's only 2 entrances you kind of have to worry about, the back and in front of you.
I'd say, and I know it's going to take a bit, so I'll wait with her as she does it, but at least the one right as close to where it branches as possible, a line there, and then maybe 15 feet down the tunnel that we saw the dead dwarf in, like just that one have an extra line.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I guess Ball will go with them, and I mean, since we're planning on having our long rest anyway, when Meli is setting up the alarm spell, Ball will use Divine Sense and just to see if, anything triggers, since we're kind of trying to be cautious here.
Okay. Yeah. As you 3 push forward to be able to kind of escort Meli, and she's doing this. So in this cave, it's dark. Wink can see fine. Meli and Ball are having trouble seeing. Are y'all using a torch or anything like that? Or just kind of following Wink?
I think Ball will take Wink's advice, since Wink says he feels kind of at home here.
It's pretty windy. We can risk a torch.
All right. Yeah, then we'll use a torch.
Okay. And Meli would probably light up. I'm not sure if she has light, so we'll say a torch for now. Lights up a torch. With the light now, Ball, you can see, Wink, you could see this before and can see further into it. But Meli and Ball, you can see kind of this cave. It's dark, dark stone. The bottom, the ground is kind of covered in dirt. This just shifted over time. You see moss growing, and occasionally you'll see a mushroom or two that's kind of growing out of the side of a crack or on a rock, decaying some dead matter. But you do push forward to the first kind of branching area where Meli puts the initial alarm, and you wait for while she's doing that. Doing a divine sense as you push your divine sense out forward. You don't sense anything of note. Seems pretty calm and very quiet. Every now and then you'll hear a drip of water, but that's about it. Moving further past to kind of go towards the dwarf a little bit. At this point, it's you feel almost not that someone's watching you, but you feel a sense of unease because it's no longer just forward and back. As you push forward into the branching section, there's forward, there's left, there's behind you, and then there's another smaller crack in the wall. And you're kind of all head on a swivel as you move over there. But as you do, you move over. Meli takes the time to cast the second alarm without issue. It does take some time to do this, but you eventually have Meli cast both of it and can move back to the group.
As we do, if Ball gets a chance, I'd like to go to one of those mushrooms and use what's it called? The thing to basically detect poison and disease. And I want to see what kind of if this is a safe mushroom or a dangerous mushroom.
As you go over, you actually recognize it's the same mushroom you and Vesper looked at earlier. It's the same species. So it's mildly poisonous. And you remember talking to Vesper earlier about it. It can be used on topical wounds as a numbing agent. But if you ingest it, it won't cause bleeding or anything like that, but it will make you nauseous and probably vomit. So you do, with that sense, you do sense a slight poisonous effect.
Maybe I'll collect some, and then when we return to the party, I'll give it to Vesper.
Yeah, sure, you can cut that off. As you are doing this with Meli, Ball, Wink, the others, are y'all doing anything particular while you're waiting on them to cast those spells?
Just setting up.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing special.
Yeah, just setting up camp, putting down, sleeping supplies and things like that.
Okay.
Just grumbling about what a bad idea it is to be staying in this cave.
Okay. You'll take the time to kind of set up things, mumble about, and by the time you'll have everything about set up where you want it, found some dry areas that don't have such moist dirt and grime on the rocks. The rest of the group makes their way back with Meli, Ball, and Wink.
So how's it look down there?
Like a death cave.
Oh, good.
I found you some mushrooms, Vesper.
Mushrooms?
I just, out of character, I think we talked about this. Klouse was saying we talked about this, that Ball talked to Vesper about this, or was it to Ellory I talked about this? About the mushrooms.
I thought I remembered it being Vesper, but it could have been Ellory. That was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's right. I think it was me. The Ulasil mushrooms.
Correct. Yeah, right. The numbing and vomiting agent.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I guess.
Okay. So then she just nods and takes them. And doesn't quite look at you, but takes them.
So we should keep watches. Someone that can see in the dark. How many of us are there? Just raise your hand real quick.
I can.
Ball and Meli can't see in the dark. Everyone else can.
All right, then the four of us should probably take it. I don't advise sleeping with any kind of fire in here. A torch for a bit is fine, but I don't know. Also, someone with dark vision to sleep next to Meli. I would have advised her to make it a silent alarm, but she's not going to be able to do anything if she's the one who's up. And good luck, everybody. I'll take first watch.
Are we, do we have a plan of attack for tomorrow? Or are we planning tomorrow for our attack?
At dawn we plan?
Sounds like a plan.
Well, I'm up for talking about it now if you want to get that settled, but if we'd rather wait until the morning, that's fine.
Yeah, let's leave tomorrow's problem for tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead.
are we doubling up on our watches then? As usual?
If we have enough, I don't see why
There are
not.
2 cave entrances, we probably should.
I'll take a watch with Ball. If Ball's cool with that.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see. I'll listen.
So whoever wants to take that first watch, or whatever group, y'all can give me perception checks, or one can do it at advantage.
I'll take the mid-watch.
I'll watch with Wink, I guess.
Right.
And give you advantage.
Great.
So, Kalvyn, mid-watch?
10.
Whenever y'all want me, I'm here to serve.
Ball, do you want me to roll, or do you want to roll?
You can roll.
Okay.
It'd be, yeah. I can't see in the dark. I think you can, right?
Yes. All right.
So it was Wink the first watch?
Wink and Vesper.
Wink and Vesper. Okay. And the others, y'all can go ahead and roll and just put it in the chat, and I'll get to it. But yeah, Wink and Vesper, as the others go to sleep and you stand watch, you listen. You both are looking, and Wink, you can see much further than even Vesper can. But as the hours go by, you just hear the occasional drip, drip. Nothing comes, nothing disturbs you. The watch goes by without any real issues. It's almost unnervingly quiet.
Home sweet home. I'll wake up the next.
Okay. Did you want to do anything else on your watch, or just kind of watch quietly?
Yeah, just watch.
Okay. Yeah. So as it goes by, Wink, you wake up the next group, which was that Ball and Amsen for the midwatch, or was it Kalvyn and Ellory?
Kalvyn and Ellory.
Kalvyn and Ellory. Okay. So Kalvyn and Ellory, as you're taking your watch after Wink and Vesper go back to sleep, you listen out and you hear the same occasional drip of water, but otherwise very quiet. The first hour goes by. The second hour begins to wind down. As that second hour begins to wind down, you both hear a kind of a shh, and that was it. You just hear this noise, and it's hard to tell what it might have been. It sounds like scrape coming from further down the tunnel. It just sounds like shh, and then it goes quiet. And you wait and listen to see if something else occurs. Depends how long you wait, but a few moments go by, no other sound.
Do you want to investigate? Or wake up the others? Or just note it?
I'd like to take a look a little ways down, but not too far.
Okay. So you can stand up. Kalvyn, are you going with her? Or?
Yeah. She's... Ellory, you don't have night vision, right?
I do.
Okay, well then, sure. Then I'll still take point, but...
Okay. So as y'all kind of get up to begin to move towards that sound you heard, are you guys moving quietly, or?
I am, for sure.
Okay. If you are moving quietly, go ahead and roll stealth checks.
19.
And Kalvyn?
11.
Okay. So as you'll move forward, kind of bending your knees, walking softly across the wet ground of dirt and stone, you move forward. You get about to where you think Meli made her first alarm, peering out, and then y'all give me a perception check. You can see the mushrooms growing along the side.
It's a 9 this time.
You hear the water dripping up ahead. It's hard to really tell where that sound is coming from, the water dripping. It almost echoes off the walls.
Perception is 23.
Okay. So, Ellory, you just noticed the features of the cave. Kalvyn, you see the features of the cave, but you also see a shift of shadow, very briefly. It's one of those things where you're scanning left to right, the two tunnels that are branching in front of you, and you see, as you scan across the right one, you see a shift of shadow. You look back in that direction, waiting for more movement to occur. A few seconds go by, and nothing immediately occurs, but you did see a shift of movement. It's maybe 20, 25 feet in front of you, right next to a wall of rock.
20, 25 feet. Okay. I try to silently indicate what I saw to Ellory. and I don't know. I mean, shadows are shadows. I don't know. Maybe I cannot book it and maybe suggest we go talk to the others. Kind of do those. Let's.
For those at home,
And just
Kalvyn is doing hand signals to try to communicate to Ellory.
I'm looking at him slightly baffled.
I try to be like I saw something. We should go back.
After a second of letting that process, I nod and then point back towards the rest of the group.
Thumbs up.
Okay. So you guys begin to move backwards towards the group, checking over your shoulder, watching for more movement along the way. You go back down, curving around the tunnel, heading to that kind of slight outcropping where you set up camp. No issues. You don't hear another sound besides the occasional drip of water.
And how far into the watch is this?
This is kind of towards the end of your watch.
So, as quietly as I can and still be heard, I whisper to Kalvyn, all right, let's keep the rest of our watch, and then when it's time to wake up the next pair, we'll just let them know what you saw.
Yeah, we'll make sure to keep an extra eye in that direction.
Exactly.
Okay. So as your watch comes to the end, is there anything else you guys wanted to do before passing it off to the next pair?
I think I just keep looking at Kalvyn a lot as we're on watch, like keep glancing over at him. But because of what we heard and what we saw down there, or what he saw anyway, I don't actually say anything.
Would Kalvyn notice you looking at him? Is it pretty obvious?
I'm not being super subtle about it.
Okay, so he probably would notice after a little while.
Okay, he would probably maybe turn a darker shade of green, maybe with a little bit of a red. I don't know how half-orcs blush, but he would do that thing where he's like, he knows she's looking, but he's like trying not to look back at her and acknowledge it.
Okay. So unless anything else changes, y'all have this awkward non-exchange with each other. It's at the end of your watch. Eventually it comes to a close and you'll wake up the next pair, which was Amsen and... was it Ball?
Yeah, Amsen and Ball.
Okay.
Amsen and Ball with a double 4.
Wonderful. Great.
So our perception check is 5.
Okay. So Kalvyn and Ellory wake you guys up. I assume that they do let you know about what they saw, the shift of shadows up ahead. Meli is still asleep. Nothing seems to have woken her up so far as y'all take over. As y'all kind of peer out, Ball is only able to really listen. He can't really see unless you're lighting fire. Amsen, you can see a bit. You hear the occasional drip of water. But yeah, an hour goes by, the second hour goes by. Your watch goes by without any indication of any movement. Amsen, you're looking out since you can see for shifts of shadow, anything like that. Nothing seems to come. No movement, just the occasional drip of water. Eventually the hours go by and your watch comes to a close. You can see you're too far into the cave to get enough light from outside, but you would guesstimate it's probably early morning since y'all went to bed early-ish. As your watch comes to a close and morning kind of comes to you. What would you like to do?
Okay, so we should probably finally make a decision of what we're going to do. Because judging based on this cave, we may exit it inside their war camp. And we should have an idea of what's going to happen.
Well, are we going through this cave to try and get down there? Or was there any sign of another path outside?
Klouse, was there any sign?
Wink was the only one that went really deeper than the rest of you. and we didn't get far enough to really see what's on the other side of the cave. He did notice that it kind of went down to the left. You can see it extended down sort of to the left or towards the center or underneath the mountain. And there were also pathways that seemed to lead to the east, which would be towards where the war camp seems to be placed. But he didn't travel far enough down to really see what's where.
And other than this cave, there wasn't another path?
There's many paths.
I mean, outside of the cave.
Outside of the cave. Okay, I'm sorry. It was those tall ridges and narrow ridges that sort of led to this cave entrance. You didn't see another path. The ridge did sort of extend to an overlook where you could oversee the war camp below. There's a way you could probably go to that cliff and climb down the 250 feet and be in the war camp when you descend to the bottom. But there wasn't like a staircase or any other pathway beyond that. There was the sort of the cave entrance and then the cliff, which you could rappel down potentially.
Well, I guess it's the cave or climbing down a cliff, which I am not in favor of, or going back and trying to find another way around. So,
well, if the cave goes down, then that would be a good escape plan. If we needed to, it'd be a lot easier than having to climb back up.
And with there being so many orcs, maybe this will be easier.
Yeah.
Small corridors.
And then if we use the cave to get down, then we'll kind of have an understanding of how to get back up through here. Because we'll have already explored it.
We should mark our way down as we go.
Exactly. Do we have a way of doing that?
I think Ball and I can. And then we'll druidcraft to, put a small little mushroom on a tunnel. If we mark the ones we pass, we can follow the mushrooms back.
Okay, there's that then. So, how do you want to approach this camp?
Well, we definitely need to have the axe on display, I would think. It's the entire reason why we're here.
If that one orc was able to recognize it, hopefully the others will as well.
I think our best bet is to put Kalvyn in front. Up close, that last one wasn't a big fan of you, but they may think you're an orc from far enough away. Based on at least my experience with elves, they're not a fan, and only the two of you really speak it.
Well, one or the other of us definitely has to play translator anyway.
Well, it's clear this axe holds some kind of cultural and personal significance. Our best bet is to probably try and be honest with it and hope that they don't kill us. Trying to sneak in is likely going to definitely get us killed if we're found.
Yeah. I suggest that we make it as clear as possible that Ball is the one in charge. Anything that Kalvyn or I translate has to come from Ball. If somebody else says something, then we don't translate it unless Ball gives the okay.
Okay.
Can I ask what your reasoning behind that is? I'm just curious.
Because, well, we don't know what they're going to react to here, or how they're going to react. But I think he's the one presenting the axe, so we should show that we are here in support of him.
It's not a bad idea. The Orcish people tend to respect strength above all else. They'll probably assume that the big guy's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And if we all show, or at least appear to be servants of whoever appears to be the strongest one around, then, yeah, it might work. He's certainly the largest and most imposing out of all of us in terms of height, perhaps.
So what do you think the odds of getting this... I'm sorry, I don't remember what the title was, but to come out to get the axe?
I don't know, but we should definitely try.
Jarl Wyrm-eye, I believe, is the person that we were looking for.
I mean, ideally we wouldn't have to go into their stronghold. but in my experience, important people don't like to do the traveling, so we should be prepared that we may have to.
I think we should demand a guarantee of safe passage in and out if we have to go in there.
I'm sure that's a reasonable expectation. We could probably do that.
And do we think there's any good merit in having someone stationed outside?
I'm not sure, but if we all think that's a good idea, that should probably be you.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm easily picked up. I don't really want to be taken.
Well, there's that, and I think we can safely assume that of the group that had captured you, the one who escaped probably made it back here. So keeping you out of sight might be a good idea.
That's fair. But can someone take notes for me? I just want to know what it's like in there.
I got you covered.
Thank you. So I'll try and find, a good place to stay out of sight, but within sight of the gate. If something happens, hopefully you won't have to go in, but if you do, I don't know. I'll think of something if something goes wrong. Does anyone have a way to communicate over long distance?
I can yell.
If all else fails.
Ball's a pretty loud person.
We'll see. It may be pointless. If I can't stay anywhere where I'm close enough to do anything, it may not be a good idea anyway, but I'll linger back once we get outside of the cave and see if there's maybe a good way I can get a view.
Sounds like a good idea.
Might be best to not go too deep into the stronghold. If she will meet us outside, that will be the safest.
Shall we go then?
Ooh, when we go up, call it a gift. Warlords like gifts.
Ah, good idea.
Okay, where am I standing? Am I out in front? Is that what was decided? I heard it suggested. I don't know if I was pushed. I just want to make sure, just in case I have to spit or something. I don't want to spit back at anybody.
Maybe we should put him in the back.
I have two thoughts about this. One is that you're up front, and then Ball's directly behind you, and we all kind of surround Ball with him in the middle.
I like it.
Like what?
I'm just saying I like it.
Oh, okay. Other idea. Wait, did you just like an idea that I had?
Let's not get hung up on it. Times are wasted.
Anyway, my other thought is that Ball is up in front. Kalvyn and I are on either side, but maybe a little bit behind, and then everybody else is spread out behind. Either way, yeah.
I don't know if they will like to see a giant.
My vote's for Cal up front. If anything, seeing something that looks like them will cause pause. Maybe not for a whole lot of time, but it may give us hope.
Might stop them from immediately firing on us.
Yeah, and like Ball could be holding the axe like almost like
an offering.
Yeah. Those are words that I wanted.
Well, I believe it sounds like we've got a plan.
Great. Now we just have to make our way through these caves.
Throw it against the stronghold wall and hope that it sticks.
Yeah. I'm a little worried we're going to end up in the war camp right as we exit, but we'll figure it out.
That would not be ideal.
Well, we shall see, I guess.
Okay, so after discussing where did you want to go? Are you heading further into the caves or backing out?
Yes, further, I believe. We're going to try and go down and curve out, I assume, if we can, and have options.
Take the east routes as much as you can.
Yeah, so it seems like we're not going deeper into the mountain.
Are you all moving together?
I think so, and then we're going to druid craft, little, like Wink was saying, little mushrooms just to kind of mark the spot. And make it, I guess, not obvious to us that these are our mushrooms, but to someone that doesn't know the mushrooms that grow in this cave, it might just look like one of the other mushrooms that grow.
Yeah, if we do like a pattern of 3 or something, of those mushrooms that we know.
Sure. Yeah, y'all can definitely do that as you're beginning to move forward, and maybe put them to the side, pat them of 3 instead of putting them in the center of the tunnel. Some of the tunnels have pretty high ceilings, and while it's not really an issue, there's some that are kind of lower and kind of get to where there's only a foot of space between the top of your head. As you are moving as a group, are y'all just weapons out, moving quickly, slowly? How are you marching? And what is the marching order?
Slowly and quietly, please.
Okay. You guys can all roll stealth checks if you would type them in the chat for me. And then let me know who is in the very front. Is Kalvyn in the front? Is Ball in the center? How did you end up deciding?
For the cave, I think it's whoever is best at making their way. So possibly Cal is our best directioned person. And I'm fine being in the back if that's what we'd like.
Yeah, I'm also towards the back.
So Kalvyn is kind of towards the front. Link and Vesper towards the back. Ball is typically closer to Kalvyn, just unless Ball you wanted to be somewhere else.
No, I think I'll be closer to Kalvyn.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going off of what you guys typically do. Ellory, Amsen, Meli, sort of in the middle, or?
Yeah, I'll be sort of in the middle, just behind Ball.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
I'll be behind them then.
Okay. Let's see, all 3 will be kind of in the back here. Rough estimate, that'll work.
Sounds like you're putting together a map of some sort.
I'm just moving your token so I have an idea of...
Why would you need to do that?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Retreat, abort.
Okay,
I'm sure there's nothing dangerous in this cave.
Yeah, the cave where people had their throats slit and
Yeah, there used to be something dangerous, not anymore.
No, I'm sure it's great.
So moving forward, natural 20, Ellory 24 total, 19 for Vesper, 11 for Ball. Ball is just hard. Every now and then you accidentally scrape your shoulder on side of the tunnel. Your chainmail clanks a little bit. You're doing actually a pretty good job considering your size and your armor, but not great. Amsen and Kalvyn, oh no. Okay. Okay. So you guys move forward, Kalvyn, Ball, the middle, and then the back group kind of pushing forward. You move past where Meli made her first alarm spell, and then past where she made her second one. And Wink, this is starting to look familiar as you're coming to this crossroads of about 5 or 6 different routes in a close vicinity, where you saw the dwarf laying on the ground. When you were previously walking through this tunnel, you saw the dwarf on the ground, got close enough to tell it was a dwarf, but never got really close. You probably saw him from maybe 20, 25 feet back. But you are moving forth and you see the body is still laying there on the ground. You hear the occasional drip of water.
I look at the body as we go up to it and make sure that the throat is the only wound.
Okay. Moving forth, getting closer to the body. You see a dwarf has a longer gray beard. You see the dirty face. Kind of lifting the head up, you see the throat slit. Looking over, flipping him over so you can see his front, seeing if there's any other wounds. You see just the slit throat.
Can I see what maybe made it? Can I figure out if it was like a blade or something? Like
you can make an investigation check or a medicinal check.
Medicine always. Fuck. Okay.
You can you can take 10, but that would assume you're taking like 10 minutes to really go over it.
That's fine. It's an 11.
Okay. So, Vesper, as you kind of look over him and begin to look over the wound, the rest of you, are you guys doing anything in particular?
I would also like to take a look at the body and see if there's anything potentially useful or valuable.
Sure. You give him a pat down. You can go ahead and roll an investigation check. If you guys don't have an issue with taking 10 minutes, you can take 10. Otherwise, you can roll.
That's a natural 1.
Natural 1. Okay. Anyone else doing anything particular as you're looking around?
Just staying alert.
Okay. I'll say as you'll begin to allow a few moments for Ellory and Vesper to look over this body, you all do notice there's something off to the side, adjacent to one of the rock walls. At first, it just looks like a boulder, but you kind of take a second glance, and you all do notice it is a flat surface It's clearly a carved rock of some sort. And upon it, you see a bowl and you see a few little items on it as well.
I'm going to go take a look at that.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything? Or just staying alert?
Yeah, just staying alert.
Okay. So Ball and Kalvyn kind of, unless, let me know if you guys want to break in, do anything else. Keeping watches. I'll say, Wink, you can give me an investigation or a religion check as you move over. You can give me an Arcana, kind of your choice of the three. Okay. So as you'll take a few moments to kind of go over this area, Vesper, you rolled an 11. So looking over the wounds, definitely a slashing wound. This wasn't piercing or bludgeoning, anything like that. It's hard to tell what did it. It could have been a dagger, a sword, anything like it. Could have been a machete, but some sort of slashing weapon. It could have even been an axe. If it was an axe, it's a very well-placed mark. It cut right through the aortas, and that was the only wound that took this dwarf down. Y'all both looking over at Ellory, focusing on what the individual has. You see he has a kind of green cloak on. You see a bloody... his clothes are covered in blood, especially the front side, where his throat relieved his fluids. You see this green, sage green cloak. You also see a scarf that goes around his neck. It's a dark, sage green, thick wool scarf that goes around his neck that matches his cloak. You also notice he does have a bag on his side. It rattles around a little bit, opening up. You see a bottle of some sort of liquid, looks like an alcohol bottle. You see a tiny little silver cage, inside of which you see a tiny silver skull about the size of a coin. You see a few coins in there and a book in it as well. Moving over as you're considering that, Wink, you rolled a 12. So looking over the carved rock, it appears purposely carved. It looks like it maybe once was a boulder in this area, but it's been purposely carved. You see in the bowl, there is bones. What you notice about the bones is they're completely black. You look at it to see if maybe they've been burnt, and maybe that's the reason why it's black. Looking at it, it could be from burnt, but you don't notice any soot or anything like that coming off the bones. You don't really know why they're black. You do notice a vial of some sort next to the bowl. A vial, as you shift it over, is a small vial, but as you toss it over, it's filled with like black sand that kind of flows as you turn it over and back.
If I open it, does it smell like anything?
Do you open it?
Yeah.
As you begin to crack it, were any of you guys using torchlights or any spell lights?
I mean,
if we needed light, I would have pulled out my sword.
Okay. Yeah, so you can use that kind of lower light from your sword that's not too bright. I think Ball, and Meli are the only ones that kind of need a little bit of light. Yeah, you going by Kalvyn's sword light, covered in flames. As you crack open the vial, the black sand immediately shifts out, and some of it rushes out towards the light of Kalvyn's sword and immediately dimming it. Do you keep it open long enough, or do you react?
No, as soon as it starts moving, I want to push it close.
Okay. A bit of it escapes, about half of it is quickly, but as that half gets out, it quickly goes towards the light of Kalvyn's sword, and for a moment, all of you are engulfed in blackness. Blackness that none of you can see through. The sand goes towards the light of the sword, engulfing it, disappearing, and everything goes black, even for those that have dark vision.
I immediately reach out towards whoever's closest to me. Just probably Vesper?
Probably Vesper. Yeah, you grab her. She's right there. That you're currently blind, cannot see.
That's my bad. Sorry, guys. Found a bottle of darkness, unfortunately. I thought it was some kind of chemical. Okay, I'm going to put that down.
About a minute or so later, the blackness fades. You hear a shh, almost like a raining of sand that falls to the ground, and you can all see once more.
Hey, maybe next time you ask before you go ahead and open something we don't know what it is.
Well, in my experience, most things don't jump out of bottles when they're in it.
Hey, guess what? We just had a new experience.
And I learned. Thank you. Here. I toss it to him.
What?
Ellory, fingernails.
Sorry. I let go. Wait, no, I don't say sorry, I just let go.
Everyone all good? Nobody's saying anything. Everybody's dead.
I think we're fine.
Vial was tossed to me. I'm still like have something in it, or is it empty now?
It looks about half full. Yeah, a few moments go by after the darkness fades, and Ellory and Vesper are going to finish going over what's on the body, thinking you'll find anything.
I'd like to take a look at the book that you mentioned.
Yeah, looking at the book, you see on the side in faded letters in Dwarven. Do you speak Dwarven?
I do not. I know the script, but I don't speak the language.
Okay, yeah, it looks like Orcish script, but it doesn't quite. You can't read it. It's strange.
I speak Dwarven.
All right, so I pass that over to Amsen.
Okay. Passing it over to Amsen, you see on the side faded, the last few letters are kind of cut off, where you can't quite read them, but it appears to say Era of Towers. Just quickly flipping it through, you can see it looks like some sort of history book. It's decently thick. It probably looks like it's maybe 300 pages, and it's a good 8 by 11 inches or so. Almost standard paper size, but thick, leather bound. Nice history book written in Dwarven.
This is a nice history book written in Dwarven.
Perfect for you, then.
Exactly. And I put it into my backpack.
I want to look at the cage and the skull.
Okay. You see a tiny, the size of maybe a dice, the standard like Chessex dice box. Mm-hmm. It's about that size. Silver cage and just bars. There doesn't seem to be any door on it as you look around. And as you kind of rattle it around, the tiny silver skull inside kind of rattles around as well. You don't see any runes or any markings on it other than just a silver gauge.
I'm not sure if that looks more ominous or cool.
Might be a good luck charm. Can I tell what kind of skull it is?
You can make a medicine check. It looks humanoid on first glance.
Oh, that's super good. That's a 25. Or no, 23. Sorry. Wow, can't do math.
Okay. Looking over the skull, it looks definitely humanoid. Some of the features of the jaw indicate almost more of a slender jaw, elongated face, probably. Not orcish, not dwarvish. More of a elongated, maybe elegant skull. Could be elvish, half elvish, or maybe human. It's hard to tell because there's no actually skin or anything on it. That's about all you can get from the tiny little skull.
I'll hang on to that, I think.
Okay. Amsen, give me what's your passive perception, actually?
It's 11.
Okay. As Vesper is looking over the skull and Amsen is kind of looking through the book, is anyone else doing anything in particular? Kalvyn, Ball, Meli?
Can I have a look at that vial thing?
The vial of black?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you look at the vial of black sand. Looking it over, you can tell as you shift it, it flows sort of like sand, but it's a bit more airy. Were you doing anything particular and looking at it?
I have the identify spell. If we properly want to know what it is, I can.
Yeah.
I'll cast that.
Did you want to take the time to cast it without a spell slot?
I mean, if everyone's okay with waiting, or if we have stuff to do, I can just use a spell slot. I'll in character ask the group if everyone's okay with waiting. What do we need to
I think we kind of got an idea. I don't know if we want to waste the spell slot or waste the time.
Maybe take a closer look at it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll hand it back then.
Handing it back. Good.
I'm going to go ahead and take the bottle of what appears to be some sort of alcohol.
Yeah. Taking that out, you see on the front Well, actually, you don't speak Dwarven. You see more Dwarven script. It's about 3/4 of the way full.
I'll go ahead and show it to Amsen then.
You can get to Amsen, and Meli's right there, probably. Both can read Dwarvish. It says Aromatic Dorman. It looks like a pretty nice label, a bright orange label. The liquid is dark. Looks like maybe a whiskey or something. It's hard to tell.
Well, that looks interesting.
Let's save it until later.
Yes. Now's certainly not the time for it.
Speaking of, should we be moving this party along?
Ah, yes. Probably.
Yeah, we've gone like maybe 300 feet, so we should probably keep going.
Okay. As y'all take away, do y'all take anything else? Do y'all take the silver cage, the liquor, the book? Do y'all take anything else on the dwarf, a scarf or a coat or anything like that?
I was actually thinking to take the tiny silver cage because that looks cool.
I already have
So
that.
was I.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I already put it in my pocket, asshole. It's mine.
Is the scarf really bloody?
What was that, Wink?
Is the scarf really bloody?
It's decently bloody. Yeah, the front side is. The back side's completely clean. The blood was only expelled through the front.
And looks at it sadly, but he'll leave it.
Do you have Arcana proficiency?
I don't, actually.
Okay.
I was looking at that scarf too.
Do you have Arcana proficiency?
I do.
As you're kind of looking it over, investigating the dwarf, you do notice as you move the scarf to really just look for other things, you notice there's a slight shimmer, and as you look back, take a second look, you see there's a slight shimmer of runes of some sort. They look dwarven in nature, but not letters, per se. They're very faint. You only see them when you really shift the fabric.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab that and show it to Meli.
I'll look at it.
Okay. You look over, you see a bloodied scarf. Pretty thick sage green wool. Looks very nicely made. You do notice as you shift the fabric, there's a shimmer of arcane runes along. It looks very similar to, or somewhat similar to the arcane runes that philosopher Mobius used. The script is different. You do recognize the format. These are arcane runes of some sort. The other thing you actually give me do you want to look at it with Arcana, or are you going to use a spell?
I will look at it with Arcana. But am I allowed to do one first and then the other one?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a matter of how much time you want to take.
I'll look at it with Arcana then.
Okay. Did you want to take 10 minutes and take 10, or okay, just look at it?
14.
Okay. Glancing over it, you see these arcane runes. There's definitely, these runes appear to have some sort of enchantment. It's hard to tell what they are, but it's definitely enchanted. You see there are multiple arcane runes. As you shift along the fabric, you're looking at maybe 20 plus arcane runes that look like separate enchantments. As you're trying to get your mind around of that many possible enchantments, the other thing you notice with that is on the edge, there are two little threads. On the end, on one end of the scarf, there's one thread. On the other end, there's another thread. These thin little threads. And as you're looking at this and kind of going over this, and it takes a few minutes for you to go over it, who has the highest passive perceptions of the group?
I have a 14.
14, okay. And Michael, or I'm sorry, Kalvyn, since you and Ball were looking out this whole time, unless you want to jump in and do anything else, you guys are welcome to roll investigation or perception, anything like that, if you guys wanted to watch out. Since you were actively watching out, you could roll that if you wanted to.
I think Vesper probably has the highest, but she's frozen.
Would I be at disadvantage?
No, the sand made darkness for a short period, but that time period has passed. Kalvyn has a little bit of light, so you wouldn't be at disadvantage, though you can only see so far because Kalvyn's light is fairly dim.
All right, so that's a 13 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I had an 11.
Okay. As you are looking out, as the others are kind of focused on what appears to be some sort of bowl of bones and then this dead dwarf, you both actually notice behind you, where you traveled from, you hear a shh, fairly close. And this is at the same point that Meli is looking over the scarf, as Vesper and Ellory are kind of getting up from looking from the dwarf.
I'll look to Kalvyn really quick and see if he heard what I heard.
Yeah, it'll be one of those, like, looking at each other at the same moment.
And then I'll look in that direction and say, who's there?
Okay. Ball, you call out who's there. A few moments go by. At this point, the rest of the group can hear Ball turning towards where he heard a sound or something and saying this. And there's a few moments of just waiting.
We don't mean no harm.
I'm gonna hide behind the rock.
Okay. Give me a stealth check.
It's either 10 or 14, depending on whether it's, quote, rocky.
It's rocky. There's no response, Ball.
Can I use Divine Sense and see if that trigger, like if whatever the sound was, is related to something undivine?
Yeah. You can push your sense out, taking that action to do so. As you do so, you don't sense anything. Nothing out of the ordinary. As it's slightly lit up by Kalvyn's sword here.
Friends, we're not alone. I think we should either move on or buckle down and get ready for something.
I'm for moving on.
Sounds good to me.
You guys hear all of you at this point here. Kalvyn and Ball, you guys were the only ones that noticed the first sound. This is from a different direction. The first sound came from where you came from. This sound came from sort of behind Kalvyn, almost towards where Wink is huddled next to the wall.
God damn it.
Is it like I mean, I'm trying to get is it kind of like winding caves? So the sound could be just right around the corner and I wouldn't know?
Potentially. Yeah, the first sound sounded fairly close. The second sound sounded a little further away, but yeah, there's multiple pathways. And the sound kind of echoes in here, so it's sort of hard to get a good beat on where these noises are coming from.
So I want to take out my sword and kind of just hold it in a defensive position. So I guess take the dodge action and just look around the corner, not 100 feet out, but just the immediate corners that I'm near.
As you reach to grab for your sword, and you guys can hear that scraping of metal upon metal as Ball begins to pull out the sword. You all hear a simultaneously from 1, 2, 3, 4, several different directions. I need everyone to roll initiative. Since I have to roll initiative and set it all up, once you guys roll initiative and put it in the chat, you guys can take a 5-minute break or something so I can set up the initiative.
I don't remember what any of my things do. Thankfully, I don't have that many.
Welcome back, Wink.
Hit everything with arrows. Oh, I have 24 arrows! Thanks, benevolent deity.
I don't know if you heard, but the dead hunter that Ball used the...
Yeah, I spent the entire time listening to that episode. Okay. Someone remember to grab me the fucking arrows.
Yeah, that's where you guys are.
All right, I'll be back.
We got a good spread in initiative, though.
I like how Ball got 15.08 in initiative.
Yep. Because he has a negative 0.92. What? I roll on a 2,000-sided die. You don't?
Roger has fancy dice.
Yeah.
What it does is basically so if there's a tie, the point whatever is essentially your dex stat. Yeah. So if it's a tie, you can tell who's got the higher or lower dex stat.
Oh, nice.
And it's a 2,000-sided die.
That's way too smart for me.
I kind of like that it does the dex score, because sometimes an 8 and a 9 score have the same modifier. I think. I can't remember. I think that's right.
Yeah, they both have -1
out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but the one Ball has is it does the score instead of the modifier. Yeah.
Is everyone back ready to give it the old college try?
Yep.
Okay. So jumping back in, as you're hearing noises and kind of almost freezing, just slowly moving, shifting, trying not to react too quickly, Ball begins to pull out his sword. As he does, oh gosh, that's a natural 19. That is a 24 to hit you, Ellory.
Oh, that definitely hits me.
Takes 7 piercing damage. As you are kind of watching Ball looking around, you feel it into your shoulder. You see a piercing, and as you look down, you see a sharpened bone, like a small javelin, almost a few inches wide, maybe 6 inches long or so, piercing into your shoulder.
Fuck.
And a 19. Does that hit you?
Yes, it does.
13 more piercing damage. As you look down to see this, another one and comes into your chest right by your shoulder, and another one pierces in. You see the blood begin to trickle out. Whatever these things are hollow, and as you were looking down, the blood is actually trickling through these hollow darts that seem to be Osinian of some sort of whitish ivory color, and they are dripping out the ends, the blood.
So did you say 13?
13 on that second one.
Ouch. Okay.
It rolled really well. And as you're kind of looking up, you hear shifting of movement down the hallway. And as that happens, that is going to bring us to Katie. And in this instance, I'm going to bring it over to here. And I'm going to give Kalvyn light. As Katie, you kind of look up as Ball is drawing his weapon, and you see Ellory immediately into her shoulder, taking some sort of hit.
But I don't see what did it, do I?
What was that?
Can I see what did it? Which direction it came from?
You see the 2 piercings are on her right shoulder, and so it's further down the hallway in her direction, but you don't see any entity over there.
Okay. Am I able to get around this way, next to her?
Yeah, you can. You can kind of move up against her and the wall.
Okay, and then I want to hold a spell if I see what it is. Gonna hold.
What spell are you holding?
Chill touch.
Chill touch. Okay. So you hold up in your hand, a ghostly or spectral form of your hand forms. You're just holding the hand, preparing to launch out at any sort of movement. Anything else for your turn?
Oh no, sorry, my spell's Ray of Frost. I got it mixed up with my other one.
Frost. Okay.
No, that's my turn.
Okay, so forming that Ray of Frost, preparing it, looking for movement, is going to bring us up to this guy. And from there, Ball, what kind of sight do you have right now?
I can just see Kalvyn's light.
Okay, how far south can you see?
Maybe 2 squares down, and the second one is like so.
Okay. So there's a 19 to hit you?
I did try to take the dodge action right before you said to roll initiative.
Okay,
so
yeah. I'll say you're able to pull the sword out and kind of just get in a defensive position. So that will cancel it out. The first roll was a 15.
Then that won't hit.
Okay. So as you're kind of preparing, looking around, just drawing the sword, preparing, getting in a defensive position, you hear a twang. And as you look in that direction and shifting the sword, there's a glancing off your sword, you see an arrow that launches over to the side.
Is it also a bony arrow?
It very briefly hits your sword and bounces off into the darkness. It was too fast to really get a good glimpse at it. That did come from southwest on the map. You heard it coming from, or the arrow came from that tunnel, but you didn't see any entity. You just barely were able to dodge that arrow. And that will bring us up to you, Ball, actually.
All right. I'm going to can I take out a torch real quick and light it? Because I can't see anything.
Yeah, it's an action to pull it out and light it, but you can't do so.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll use my action to do that.
Okay, and you still have your movement and bonus while I'm giving you light. So you quickly pull it out, lighting it.
All right, and you said it was from the southwest, I heard something?
Yeah, the southwest tunnel.
All right.
It seemed to be where they are, the direction that they are flying.
All right, so I will move that direction, which is 10. And then seeing it, I'm going to, I guess, move back and just kind of like, basically, since I just got an arrow thrown at me, I'm going to take a step back so they'd have to come closer.
Yeah.
So,
and as you do come around that corner, you see a figure almost hunched over, knees bent low to the ground. You see a figure with long, gangly arms, in sort of dark leather, maybe, with cloth kind of covering the face. You can see enough with the torchlight. You see the lower jaw with 2 tusks sticking out. You only see about the nose down, and you do see black tattoos that come along the lips and then spread up towards where the eyes would be, as you step back around the corner a bit.
Does it look orcish?
The bottom jaw is wide, and there are 2 tusks. It does appear to be orcish. The size, it looks a little gangly, but it does look orcish in nature.
I think, I'll take a step back and I'll say, we're here to see the Jarl.
Okay. Taking a step back, yelling that. And are you holding the torch and your greatsword in your other hand?
I know that I can't, if I want to attack later, I can't do that. So would I just end up on my next turn dropping the torch?
It'd be at disadvantage, or you can drop the torch as a free action. There's no action required to just drop something.
Okay. I wouldn't mind actually just kind of leaving the torch here in the center.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can kind of drop it to the ground, putting both hands onto the weapon.
Yeah, I'll do that then.
Okay.
And that'll be the end of my turn.
So yelling, stepping back, grabbing the blade. That will bring us up to Amsen. You see Ball is clearly looking down a tunnel towards some sort of target. Meli is looking down another tunnel with Frost prepared in hand.
Okay. Let's see here.
And for reference, the sound that Ball and Kalvyn heard came from the west side of the map. The sound you all heard before this all kind of went off, is northeast. And then all of this happened.
And I assume the one that I can see to the northeast looks like what you described to Ball?
Yeah, as this is happening and you're looking around, you see something peek out of the corner. A very similar appearance as the described Ball.
Great.
And which part of the cave did we come from?
You came from the west side of the map.
Right there?
Yeah, you came from sort of rounded about where Kalvyn is, but yeah, in that direction.
Okay. Since Ball's kind of by himself, I'll go up to Ball and maybe just a little bit ahead of him, just so that I can see 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I can just barely see something there. So what I'm going to do, since I can just barely see it, I'm going to cast Fairy Fire in, like, that whole area kind of deal.
Okay, and that's a dex saving throw?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so as you conjure up this Fairy Fire, what color do you choose as you're conjuring up the spell to launch it over?
Purple.
Okay, so purple shimmering, glowing dust appears, where you can just barely make out this figure, who rolled a 16.
Sadly, that saves.
Okay, so as the dust appears for a moment, the figure actually ducks back into the shadows beyond your sight, and you hear ducking and rolling, you hear rocks shifting, sliding along mud, and then you see the figure appear back once where they were, still just barely visible with the dust on the ground surrounding them.
Okay, so I'm just going to take out my hand crossbow and move back, because I still have a couple squares, and just huddle up against the wall here.
Okay, so moving back towards the wall, preparing a wink. It comes to you. You're kind of huddled next to a boulder that's just to your right, kind of next to you, and you can kind of just peek over and you can see that figure in the distance towards the northeast.
Okay. I have a feeling they probably couldn't understand Ball.
Klouse? Sorry, I had a 16 on my initiative.
You're not on the order. I'm so sorry. Go ahead and go now, actually.
No, I let Wink go first. And then
Okay. You go after that.
Sorry
about that.
I was actually going to hold my action to see if the one with the green dot... Actually, he can probably hit Cal from there, so he doesn't have to move. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and take my shot at him.
Are you going to shift out to pop out to sort of get a better shot on him?
Yeah. I'll poke my head around.
Yeah, you have enough movement, plenty to kind of shift up. You have a clear line of sight as you kind of pop out and see the creature.
Right. I'll go ahead and roll for that. Natural 1. Unless I was hidden with my 14.
With a 14, you were hidden. Just barely.
It was an 18. I lied.
Okay, so you hit. You see the creatures looking down the tunnel in your direction, but they're not looking at your height. You see they clearly have eyes on Kalvyn as you pop out. Release.
So that's going to be 9 piercing damage, and then I'm going to snap my finger, and poison vines wrap around him as he takes 8 more poison damage.
As the arrow into the diaphragm center of mass, you can see them kind of all almost get launched about a foot. He clamps down on the bow as he's kind of looking up at you, and as he looks up to meet your gaze, as you snap your fingers, the remaining shaft of the arrow bursts into these vines of thorns, wrapping all around him, and as it squeezes him, he drops the bow to the ground and slowly withering. You see the life almost fading from him as his skin coloration changes and gets very pale before he falls face down on the ground.
All right. I'll just stay there then.
Okay. That will bring us up to Ellory. Yeah, these two... Oh, I'm sorry, Vesper.
Thanks. Ellory, how do you look?
Not good.
Okay, I'm gonna first level cure wounds, Ellory, with my action. So that is...
You're placing your hands upon her as the light kind of comes forth from your holy symbol, blending in with the smoke that shifts into light, silver gold light.
It's only a 7. That points back.
Healing up. You see some of the dripping coming out of the 2 hollow darts stop dripping. Though she's still impaled with them.
Oh, jeez. I'm gonna use my bonus action to cast Shield of Faith on myself.
Okay. As you kind of place your hand on yourself in the shimmering divine shield cast over yourself. Did you want to move or stay there?
Yeah, I'm going to go 5, 15, 20. And just hang out there until I can see something, I guess.
Okay. So moving forward down that hallway. Then that will bring us to Ellory. As Vesper puts her hands on you, heals you, moving past you towards the direction where those 2 bone darts came from.
Okay, so I am going to swear a bit in Orcish, and then I'm going to move down. I don't think I can see anything from here. I see a hint of something up towards the northeast, but I can't tell what it is.
Yeah, you can kind of, from where you are, you can just barely see a little bit of cloth on the ground. And
on
maybe a shoeless foot.
Does that appear to... a shoeless foot, is that standing or just...
Standing.
Standing. Then I'm going to go ahead and cast Firebolt in that direction.
Okay. There's a significant cover bonus, but yeah, you can certainly try to aim towards that foot.
15.
That would normally hit, but you can barely just make out the foot and a bit of cloth around the corner, and trying to blend it around the corner, you actually slam into the corner of the rock as the flame embers fly. Briefly lighting up the area, you can see the cloth is dirty gray. It once maybe was some other color, but it just looks brown and gray. You can see the foot has a grayish-green dark tint to it as the embers briefly light off that hallway, but unable to penetrate to the actual creature.
Okay, and then with that done, I'm going to go back up to where I was before.
Okay, shifting back. Anything else for your turn as you're kind of moving backwards?
No, I think that'll be it.
Okay, so moving back towards the dwarf on the ground in the center of these multitude of tunnels. That'll bring us up to Kalvyn. Your sword is lighting the immediate area around you. You see Wink just shoot a creature down the distance you maybe not can't quite see. What would you like to do?
Well, I would like to pull out my other sword, my primary sword, and cast my and light a blaze.
Okay. Now I have 2 blazing swords.
Yes, I think so. And I'm gonna scoot. Not with. I'm gonna go back to back with good old Wink there, and kind of I get shout out into ether. Like, has it been? Nobody said that this is dwarves or orcs or anything, have they? I didn't hear anybody say anything, and I haven't seen anybody. So
I don't think anyone said anything yet.
Yeah, so
You definitely
Paul
know
didn't
there's
say what he
multiple
saw,
people.
but he did just say, he said that we're here to see the Jarl. But he didn't say that it was an orc that he was seeing.
okay, well then I am just going to take the dodge action currently until that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, so just drawing your swords up, preparing to parry away any sort of incoming attack. That will bring us up to this guy here. And Kalvyn, do you see a target now?
Oh, I totally see a target.
Okay. Just wondering if he's outside of your vision or not. So just a standard attack. You see a tusked, wide-jawed individual, gangly but thin, hunched-over, orcish-looking individual that moves outside and rolls a 12 to hit you. Actually, disadvantage. Lower. As he comes around the corner, you see him drawing back, and you've seen this a million times. You've seen Wink himself attacking other creatures. You see the arrow come back, and as it flies, you actually shift all the way to the side and cut midair as you slam into the arrow midair, snapping it in half as it falls to the ground. Cinders and embers flying up for a moment as you see the creature, then backs back down. And that will bring us up to this creature who is dead, and back up to this guy. So flying around the corner, Vesper, Ellory, Meli, I'm not sure if you can see, depending on the light of the situation. But the other two definitely, you see a figure running around the corner with great haste. You can see open palms as he runs very quickly. You can see there was once a hood over his head, but it's now flown up. You can see a orcish, very tall, very thin, gangly individual. You see 2 tusks, and you see completely black eyes as he's running forth. You see a few weapons on his belt, but he's coming at you with none as he rushes forward to Vesper. As he rushes forward to you, Vesper, he immediately comes towards a fist, and at the last moment shifts it to an open palm and tries to crack you in the center of your mass. 17 to hit?
Yeah.
As it hits you right in the sternum, you hear it as you feel like one of your ribs detach. As you take, not too bad, 11 bludgeoning damage. As you hear it.
Can I take my held action?
Yes, you can. That would actually happen beforehand. You can certainly make your attack now. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. As you see the figure around the corner, can you see the individual on the map?
Yeah, he's next to Vesper, right?
Okay, yeah. If you can see him, it's just a straight roll. Then just checking to see how well you can see the creature. Plus, like 4, 5.
Plus 6. I think.
6, actually. Okay. Just enough, actually. So as the creature comes around, moving quickly towards Vesper, it almost takes you off guard, but you release the spell that you had prepared. The eyes slamming into him, dealing...
Oops, I double-clicked. It's the first one. 5.
Okay. As it slams into his left shoulder, it grazes into him. You see some of the ice leaves a mark in his left shoulder. As he turns to the side and almost uses the momentum to bring that open palm into Vesper, as he slams into you, his bare feet glide along the ground. As he brings up a leg to try and kick you in the side of your knee. That one is a 17 to hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Raises my armor class to a 16. They keep rolling 17.
That one is 10 bludgeoning damage.
Oh, God. Okay.
In the side of your knee. You feel it almost buckle, but you maintain your footing. And that will actually, as he gets there, slams into you twice. You see him turn and back away.
Do I get an attack of opportunity?
You try to, and he quickly, as you begin to pull your blade up, he slaps your wrist and he backs away.
Also, Meli's Ray of Frost reduced his speed by 10 if that changes anything.
Yeah, he wouldn't get quite that far. He would only actually be able to get there, but he does shift back. Thank you, George.
Thanks, George.
That brings us up to Meli. As you slam his shoulder and eyes, you hear as he slams into Vesper, backing off. It's now back up to you.
Okay, I'm gonna step up next to Vesper.
And as you step up, you're getting a better look of this individual. Now, he's stopped moving for a moment, has both of his hands up. You can see he has a completely shaved head, and you see a long white beard that almost goes to his mid-chest, sternum area. You can see a few tattoos along his forearms and wrist, look almost like mimicking black bones on both of his forearms.
Actually, would Ellory be able to, she wouldn't be able to get past me, would she, if I'm there?
She can. It's just difficult terrain. You can let her,
okay.
Yeah, you can kind of turn to the side. She can move right through your space as long as you didn't stay there.
I'll stay there, and I will hold burning hands for if he comes closer.
Okay. So you hold the flames in your hands, preparing to release them. And that will bring us up to this guy down here. He's going to just take a step or two here. Paul, you're going to have some cover, but I'm going to go for it anyway. The gangly individual moves forth out of the tunnel, out of the shadows, and that is would be a 15, but actually reduced to a 13 because you're partially around the corner just a bit as he launches in the air towards you, Ball.
All right, so that won't hit.
Okay, so it comes towards you, but you're around the corner just so that you kind of take a step back, using the greatsword to kind of maintain your guard. As he does that, he actually gets 2 attacks. That would be a 19 with 17 instead.
That's my armor class, so yeah, it will hit.
Reach around. The first one, you're able to use the cover and your sword to dodge. The second one, unfortunately, finds purchase for 5 piercing damage. You see this one kind of hits in almost where your belt is in your lower left abdomen as it pierces in. You look down and you can see it's clearly a very thin bone arrow. And after that, he will then shift back. That is where he can go, and that will bring us up to Vesper.
Okay. So, bonus action, I'm going to healing word myself and, kind of hold my side and try and set the rib as I cast it. And as I do that, I, kind of cry out in pain, and that sound becomes a bell as I cast Toll the Dead on this motherfucker.
Nice. And
so he needs to make a wisdom save.
Wisdom. Not great, however. No. 5.
Ha. And he hasn't been damaged, so, right? Oh, no, Meli did damage
he has
him.
taken some damage. Yeah. Yeah,
Awesome.
You've used that same maneuver on Injured Covenant before as you heal and crack at the same time, positioning the rib back where it should be. At the same time, the loud yell of pain. You see him wince almost, but just vaguely on the eyes.
Sexy, that's an 11. 11 necrotic damage.
You can see the ice actually melts away, and you can see the flesh, the muscle beneath the dark gray-green skin is actually very dark. It's not the red. You can see blood pooling, but it's very dark blood. It looks black in this low light conditions. It almost rots and festers as the skin peels away, cracking. Anything else for your turn, Vesper? You stay where you are. Oh, you're in deck.
I'm going to shift. I'm so sorry. I'm going to shift behind Meli.
Okay,
and
Meli,
just kind of press against the wall.
You see her with her burning hands in action and kind of locking eyes with this individual who's in this sort of protective stance. And shifting behind her, that, unless she has something else, will bring us to Ball.
If I wanted to kick the torchlight, would that be an action or an interaction or?
I'll say you could use an interaction. It may not be super accurate, but you could move the light.
Okay. And then is this kind of like difficult terrain, or can I get through that? Cave there?
You can get through that. It's a little bit of a squeeze, but not enough to really. You just kind of have to hunch over a little bit, but you can get through it.
Okay, so I want to kick the torchlight that way, and then follow the torchlight, and because I can see the guy, but I want to be able to see him better with him swinging at him.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as I prepare that, the light does kick in his direction. It's not hard to kick in that general direction. Kind of lands at his feet to where you can see them very well. As I fix the map to reflect that.
And unless I see something crazy once the light moves there, then I'll probably continue going.
Yeah, as the light moves there, you can see behind them expands like a cavern. It's hard to tell exactly how big it is based on the light, but decently big.
Okay, I don't know if did you move the light yet? Because I can see the torch thing, but but the light is still
working on it.
Okay, all right. Like, I just don't want to run in there and there's like 6 guys around me.
Yeah.
Okay, and then from here I will, with my greatsword, just take a swing at him.
Go for it. You see this one snarling at you, and you can see them already dropping the bow and reaching for a scimitar at their side. As you bring the greatsword down.
Is it 14?
As it comes down, you see them actually drop the bow, and your greatsword slams into the sword. You see it scrape some of the fingers. You see a little bit of blood fly, and the bow itself snaps in half. But the rest of the momentum and force the blade slams into the moist ground beneath at your feet. Unfortunately, missing.
All right, and I'll end my turn there.
Okay, that will bring us up to Amsen. You're just around the corner. You see Ball kick the torch and move forth down the tunnel.
All right. So I'm going to take a step away from the wall. And I can see clearly now, but Ball is in the way. So I'm going to move a little bit more and see what else is here. That's 10. 15.
You would hear the impacts of fighting around the corner where the rest of the primary group is.
Jeez,
As you get there, you can...
Any guys. 25. Okay, there we go. I can kind of see somebody now. Like 30 feet to my right in the darkness.
Yeah, you just barely see that guy. He has almost essentially entire cover from Ellory being there, but you do see him.
Okay.
So he's a target in that manner.
Well, as long as I can see him, I'm going to tell him to stop moving and cast Hold Person.
Okay. Wisdom save, I believe?
I believe so. Yep, that is correct.
Not great. That's a 10.
No, he is paralyzed.
So as he's holding his hands kind of in this position, looking at Vesper, and it looks like he's looking at Meli, who's holding these flames in her hands. He was already very still, but you see him kind of lock up, unable to move or shift his attention anywhere else. Anything else for you, Amsen?
All right, so as I run up there and tell him to, you stop moving right there. And I turn back around and I'm going to inspire Ball with my bonus action, and I'm going to sing, "Oh, Ball, you're all that I want. When we are here fighting, bring down that holy smite. It's from heaven."
Awesome.
And that is my turn.
Nice, inspiring Ball. That will bring us up to Wink.
All right. Looks a little bit like a shit show, so I'm going to move... on the wrong thing. I'm going to go try and chase after this guy, so I think I can get there. Oh, you're right there. So I'm going to fire at the red one.
Go for it. Almost point blank at this range, only about
Natural 20?
10 feet away. Yes, that will definitely hit it. And Kalvyn, the one you parried the bow away, you see Wink here as he quickly runs around you to the side. You see him turn around the corner, draw back, and as Wink, as the arrow, where were you aiming?
I think directly in the... you know what? I want to go for his nuts. I'm low. He's probably not even looking down. I want to just, shoot up into his leg.
Just the first target. And you see almost the entirety of the arrow disappear. You can just barely see the feathering at the end, using one of the hunter's arrows that goes all the way. You see the individual almost just hop up and you hear as the bow drops to the ground, and he slowly falls back on their back. You see as they fall back, the hood that was covering most of their face comes off, and you can see a long kind of braid coming off the top of their head. It looks like a female orc, tattoos over the face.
Huh.
That
I'll
one's
look
down.
back to Cal and just be like, I got it.
And are you going to end there or move some more?
Yeah, that's all my movement, so that's my turn.
Got it. And that will bring us up to Ellory.
Okay, I have a much better view of the one that's been attacking us down here. So I'm going to go ahead
Walk up.
for another attempt at a firebolt. Natural 20.
Okay.
So how does this work exactly? I think this is the first time that I've gotten a natural 20 on an attack.
So it does, you can, I usually say you can do either way. You can either double the dice or roll it twice. I generally prefer rolling it twice, but sometimes on like high dice spells, you can just double it. You're calling that.
Where, there it is.
Just keep it consistent.
So I'm going to roll twice.
Okay.
So that's 9 plus 2, 11.
11, okay. That was firebolt, correct?
Yes.
So you see some of the wounds that have been inflicted upon him with this fire just slamming into him, unable to dodge or move out of the way of it at all. You see it just slam into him as the burns kind of singe his face. The beard burns up, and you see just a little bit at the bottom of the beard that's still kind of caught fire. The embers caught in it. He's just unable to move, locked in place. He's looking definitely bloodied at this point. I will say he, as the flames kind of ignite his face, this is definitely an older orc. The beard is white. He looks like he's maybe the equivalent in orcs for like an 80-year-old orc. He's a very old orc. Anything else for you? Want to stay there, move?
So seeing that he's still held and he is looking pretty rough, I'm going to go ahead and move down in the direction of Ball.
Okay, so shifting, moving towards where you heard Ball, heavy foot clomping. That will bring us up to Kalvyn.
I'm at a loss what to do. I haven't seen anything but that one guy that is supposedly dead. So I'm going to...
Yeah, Kalvyn, you hear a noise and you begin to move in that direction and wink. Got him. You hear another noise and you hear a wink. Got him. But you do hear a heavy amount of combat coming to the south of you.
Okay. I guess I will move down. That's what?
And to the east on this map, you can hear conflict. You can probably see a orcish individual with a white beard, unmoving, looks pretty heavily bloodied.
Yeah, I'm going to move right up next to Meli, and I'm going to, I guess I will hold an attack for if he gets close enough.
Okay.
He should be paralyzed right now.
He is, he is completely locked up.
Well, I mean, if I move 5 feet towards him, then I can attack him. If I, so I mean, I guess I'll move up on him and just be there. I'll use my standard action to move 5 feet. No, I'm gonna move there if that's okay. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, using your dash, you move up and around him. And as you're moving around him, he's just still staring in Meli's direction, unmoving, unflinching, unreacting to your movement around him. And that will bring us actually up to him. Frozen. Repeats his save at the end of his turn. I can do it. Not great. That's an 11 that time. So he's still locked into place. That will bring us up to you, Meli. You've been holding these burning hands in your hand for the entire 6 seconds, and you still have the spell.
Can I hang fire with that? Because I don't want to tell burn Kalvyn.
You can probably aim it to the side and heavily hit the wall, and just have the corner hit the individual if you want to do that.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
Okay, and I believe that's a dex save, which he should automatically fail. Let me make sure. Automatically fails, yeah. So just go ahead and roll damage, and he takes all of it. This poor old orc guy, he takes 9 damage. As you holding the flames in both hands, the strings of flames kind of bridging the gap between you, put your hands together, and as you do a cone of flames, you're aiming it in such a way as a lot of it is hitting the wall in front of you. You almost have to squint Kalvyn, Vesper, and Meli, because a lot of the flames are hitting the wall and curling up around very close quarters, but you are able to aim it on them as the flames just roll over him. You can see the tattered cloth that's just loosely wrapped around him is mostly burned away. There's still a little bit left on the trousers, the pants, but the loose cloth around his chest and shoulders is completely burned away. And for the old orc you do see a fairly muscular body, but at this point you can see him, even in this petrified form, is looking very rough. You can see a lot of flesh exposed. You can see horrible burns. The beard is almost entirely gone at this point. His face is, half of it is nearly unrecognizable as you burned half of it. Do you want to stay there? Do anything else?
Yeah, I'll stay there.
Okay, just staying there, and that will bring us up to the guy in front of Ball. So, Ball, you see this individual kind of, as you slam onto their bow, destroying it, they're reaching towards a short sword as they pull out, and they bring it up towards you. That is a 22 to hit.
That will hit.
3 piercing damage as they bring it up as they quickly turn, spin, trying to go for the second attack. That one is a 13 to hit.
That won't hit.
As they turn around, slapping into the metal, unable to pierce through. And they are really effectively in the same spot. That is their turn, and that will bring us up to Vesper.
Cool. I'm going to shift this way, and I'm going to Sacred Flame him, and since that's a dex save...
Unmoving, just staring at Meli.
For 6 radiant.
How do you want to do this?
So still kind of holding my side. With my other hand, I come up and grab my holy symbol. And I think as it starts to glow, so do my eyes, and then so do his eyes, and I just want it to burn him from the inside out.
Okay, so as you're holding the symbol and the lights begin to flare, you see his entirely black eyes, and as the light begins to glow from behind them, the eyes are ignited enough, you see there are severe scarring even before the burn. Like something happened to him, some wound long ago, or some sort of birth gone wrong, some sort of issue. Are ignited by the silver gold light of your spell. And as it pierces through the eyes first, it then comes through, you see a sheen of light coming out of the shoulder wound from the ice. And all of his various other wounds begin to shine light. And you see, and for a moment, it's blinding. And the next thing you see is him crumpled on the ground, almost in a fetal position. You can see his arms are still in a very similar position, but one of his arms is detached. You see his entire form is burnt by fire, both arcane and radiant.
And then I turn on my heel and just start walking the other way.
Okay, so moving back. That will bring us up to Ball, as there's this scraggly individual in front of you stabbing you as best they can.
Does it sound like the fighting behind me has died down, or is it still...
It's hard to tell because this is all happening very rapidly, right. But it's going from loud, complicated battle to becoming more simpler and simpler and simpler. You hear loud flames and a few other sheens of arcane spells. It's hard to tell because it's right back behind you.
Okay, so I want to try to grapple this guy.
Okay. Roll an athletics check.
That's a natural one.
Okay, there was a natural 20 on this end. So you go to reach out, but by the time you even take your hand off the blade to be able to go for him, they already have shifted back just a few feet. You kind of swipe into nothing but air.
And I'm guessing I can't move to the other side of him, right? It's too narrow.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to push through his face unless you're able to grapple them and force them.
Okay, I guess that will end my turn then. I don't think I can do much else.
Your wide hand reaches out, swiping into nothing but air as they're quickly able to move. That brings up to Amsen. As you see that last individual that you held fall to the ground, everything's relatively quiet except for you still hear a ball shifting to the south.
Okay. Then I will go up to Ball and see what's going on. I can't really see that guy on the other side of Ball. Kind of, not really.
You can probably know they're there, but getting a visual is pretty difficult.
Okay, then. I'm going to use my action to hold my hand crossbow so that if I see a enemy, potentially the one in front of me, I will shoot.
Okay. So you lock the crossbow back. That'll bring us to Wink, then Ellory, and Kalvyn. So Wink, you're up.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I was way down. I am satisfied they are dead, so I will go here. Here. I don't think I'm going to be able to see anything where I can get to. Yeah, no, that's as far as I can go, so I will just hold an action in case I see anything. I've got a little bit of sight down every tunnel.
Okay, so Noshinera is prepared just in case. Ellory?
Well, that dude's got a lot of cover. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm not really sure if there are any more around, but I'm going to take this opportunity when I can't do much else effectively to cast Mage Armor on myself.
Okay. And as you cast that spell, how does that look? Is it a shimmering force over you?
Yeah, so it's just kind of like a pale bluish white shimmering over me.
Okay. Yeah, so that shimmering comes over. Anything else for you?
No, but because that is a first level spell, and after our conversation about wild magic surges, I'm going to go ahead and do my roll for that.
Okay.
13.
Okay. Yeah, the energy kind of tickles the back of your neck. Not enough. You push through it. If that's the end for you, that'll bring us up to Kalvyn. You see the frozen individual was incinerated by the... Yep.
Actually, I do think I want to move.
Okay, sure.
So I'm going to go ahead up a little ways into this other tunnel that's towards the west.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of generally from the direction you came, sort of. As you kind of shift in that direction, just looking around.
And seeing... Oh, that was the direction we already came?
That's where you all came from, in that direction.
Okay. Then I'm going to go right back to where I was.
Okay. Shifting around, looking through the tunnels, that is up to Kalvyn, as you see the individual incinerated before you.
Where is there only other sounds are coming back from where it came?
From southwest of you, is the other sounds.
Okie doke. I'm going to move to right above the dwarf. And can I hold a move, a standard action for as to use it to dash if I see something? Like, the idea is I would use a dash if I saw somebody, I would dash in that direction.
Yeah, I'll say you can. Yeah. You can hold that action to just getting ready to sprint in that direction, charging forth. Sure. Anything else for you, Kalvyn?
I mean, I'll try not to look as useless as I've been.
Kalvyn's just been sprinting all over the place with his two swords. Everything is just trying to stay away from those two flaming swords. That will bring us up to dead Meli. You see Vesper use Divine Radiance to finish off the old orc incinerated before you.
Then I can hear the fighting from the left, can't I?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Okay. Not that way, not into the wall.
Meli's bouncing around, hard to see in these various tunnels.
Is the one next to Ball a bad guy?
You can vaguely see it under individual. You've passed everyone along the way to where you are. So yeah, you can make out this individual. You don't really have a good visual, but you can tell someone's there.
Could I do a Ray of Frost at disadvantage?
He has almost entire coverage. I'll say you can try, but if you miss, you might hit Ball. That's really the only other thing to hit.
Then I will hold it for if I can get a better visual on it.
Yeah, he basically has full coverage. Yeah, normally wouldn't be an attack, but they'll say, let's try, whatever. But yeah, you're going to hold dice instead. Just kind of prepared just in case needed, and it's going to bring it to that creature. If you'll make an athletics or an acrobatics check, Ball, as the individual takes the sword with both hands and swings towards your feet. And that is 19 for him. So as he swings towards it, you're almost not expecting it, and he's so low to the ground. He swings towards your feet, cuts into the ankle, and pulls as you land on your side, partially on your back, as the creature is actually going to take a step forward onto the top of you. Amsen and Meli, I know Meli was preparing a spell. You would have an open shot to him at this point as he's standing on it. You see him raising the short sword above his head, beginning to bring it down in the ball.
Then I will take my shot.
I'll take mine too.
You both take your shots as you
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Time slows as the blade is coming down towards Ball's throat.
19.
You hit. What was that spell, Amsen? Did you have held?
No, I had my hand crossbow.
Hand crossbow, that's right. Okay, so
That's only 4 damage.
comes into the diaphragm area. The bolt slamming into it. The blade is still coming down, unfazed, as Meli. The ice flies through the air. That will hit. The ice slams into their shoulder. The ice flying everywhere.
It's a 4.
4, you see, and the ice kind of comes up over their arm, slowing it even further, but it's still coming down. With advantage. Not great. 15?
No, that doesn't hit.
You see, as he's coming towards the throat, the combination of once the bolt and then the ice knocks him off balance. And instead of going for the throat, the sword slams into the center of Ball's chest, right into the armor, unable to penetrate through as he looks up. As it looks up at you and is going to... whoops, I'm moving the torch. That's not what I meant to move. But the creature's going to jump off of Ball and begin rushing forward. Ball, you would get attack of opportunity at disadvantage because you're prone on the ground.
Can I try to grapple at disadvantage? Basically, just like try to grab his foot as it's going by.
Yeah. Athletics check at disadvantage. He's going to do... That's a 20.
I'm going to... Can you use inspiration for this stuff?
This is a skill roll, so I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
What are you trying to do?
Well, grapple is technically an attack, right?
It's like replacing attack, but it's still you're using a skill to roll it. But yeah, I think either way you can use it.
Yeah, basically I want to use inspiration on this grab.
Yeah.
Sure, so...
Yeah, you should be able to use that.
So it goes from
1d6
16...
or 1d8?
It's a D6. I'll be getting D8 soon.
Okay. What do I have to beat?
A 20.
Okay, that's going to go.
No, I'm sorry, 20 actually.
I got a 1, so that's 17 total.
Okay, so you reach forward and you actually grab their ankle and it kind of trips over, but he still kind of tumbles forth, moving past right next to Amsen. Almost intent on running. Still has a short sword in hand, though. That's going to bring us up to Vesper. You hear a noise coming from here. Somehow this person might have a chance.
15, 20, 25, 30. And I can see it, so I'm going to toll the dead. Right? That's it?
Yeah, you can see them heavily wounded at this point. Crossbow and ice sticking out of them.
Toll the dead. So it needs to make a wisdom save.
Actually, he wouldn't be able to get there. You'll only be able to get there because of the ice. And that is a... Let's see what the wisdom is. 17, actually.
God damn it. Okay. Let me see if there's something else I can do with like a bonus. Not that's worth it. So, nah. Okay.
Okay. So that will bring us up to...
actually, is Ball looking hurt?
Ball. He's on his back on the ground.
But is he just prone or is he like...
I'm not that bad.
Okay, never mind then. Yeah. That's
super heavily wounded. And that will bring us up to Ball, actually, as you're on the back.
All right. I'm going to stand up and try for the 900th time to grapple this guy.
Okay, go for it. He's rolling well.
Yeah, and me with my like plus 400 strength, I'm rolling
18.
awful.
You notice these orcs, even though this orc is wiry, slim, they're faster than the other orcs you fought before. Not as strong, but faster. This time, though, as you stand up to your feet real quick, reaching out and grabbing, as you see him just about to turn and make the turn around Amsen, heading towards the rest of your friends, you grab them on the back of the leather armor and pull them back. You have them grappled. All
right, and then with the remaining move speed, I'm just going to kind of like push him towards the rest of the party.
Okay, yeah. You push him towards the rest of the party.
And as I do say, maybe we can talk to this one. Oh, did I mute myself or did...
No, I could hear that.
Okay.
So you grab him pushing forward towards the rest of the group. I'll say one of you, as Ball is pushing this individual towards the entire group, one of you give me an intimidation check with advantage. At this point, he's pushing forward. He doesn't hear any of his other comrades moving or shifting. It looks like it's just him and he's wounded.
I'll go for it.
Okay.
This is going to see if it'll take us out of combat.
You said with advantage?
Yeah, intimidation.
Okay, so that's 21.
Okay. How are you intimidating them?
I am going to light up a firebolt as if I'm ready to just slam it into his face. And in Orcish, I'm going to say, stand down.
So with the flames are roaring in your hand, the Orcish sound coming surprisingly guttural from a half-elf. They looks taken aback from the sudden noise coming from you, seeing the flames, having this massive hand on their back, as well as multiple other individuals pointing weapons. As Ball is pushing him towards the group, Wink then comes out, and then he sees another half-orc individual with 2 flaming swords. They drop their sword forward. Now, at this point, we're out of combat initiative as Ball kind of pushes them towards the center of you and kind of surround this individual who is no longer really fighting back. You can see there's sort of a bit of a dissonance and or dissent, a little bit of resistance, but they're not fighting back. As Ball has them grappled and pushes them into the center. I feel so bad. He was running around the entire map the whole time.
Kalvyn just like keels over because he's so tired.
Yeah. It's hard melee versus a lot of ranged characters, or ranged enemies, but it's y'all push the individual to the front. Did y'all want to call it here, or did you want to go for a few more minutes? I can't go for too much longer, I'll say.
I don't mind finding out what you can get out of this guy, but if you guys want to call it, I'm cool with that.
I'm okay with calling it too, so Michael could be involved. But if y'all unanimously want to keep going, I will. But otherwise, I'd prefer to call it.
I'm okay giving it a night, then, or calling it a night.
Yeah.
Sounds like George really wants to stay.
Away.
Well, I appreciate y'all starting late with my crazy schedule. I know you guys really wanted to play, so I'm glad we got some sort of play time. Okay, so we'll go ahead and call it for the night. As you're pushing this individual into the center, surrounding them, seeing what questions you might have for them, what interrogation technique, or weird, uncalled for torture.
No more feathers, please.
No, yeah, we can't continue without our lead torturer.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wasn't Michael the one who said the thing about spooning butt or something as well?
Probably.
Oh, right.
Yes, he did. That was...
He was like, I'm going to spoon your butt.
Yeah.
He has like the most inventive torture methods.
Oh, God.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Back to the Story. For notifications when an episode goes live, you can find us on Stitcher. It's like Pandora, but for podcasts. You can download the app and the algorithm will help you discover similar shows and allow others to find ours as well. If you would like to contact us, you can tweet us at back2_the_story. Alternatively, you can email us at thebonfirefables@gmail.com. Or if you would like further information about the campaign, the player characters, NPCs, or behind-the-scenes sneak peeks, follow us on Tumblr at back-to-the-story.tumblr.com.